The cleaning lady's revenge. The Blackwood mansion erupted with cruel laughter as Victoria Sterling descended the marble staircase in an expensive dress. Richard Blackwood raised his champagne glass mockingly. Look who decided to show up. Our dear cleaning lady. Victoria, 35, had cleaned that mansion for 2 years, invisible and silent. The invitation arrived 3 days earlier with Richard's cruel smile. Charity Gala Saturday. Dress code. Maximum elegance. You surely have something suitable, don't you? His friends laughed. It was a trap, a public humiliation before California high society. Richard had even invited reporters. Let's bet $100,000 she doesn't show up, he told his wife Helena. And if she does, she'll be our entertainment. But Richard didn't know 2 things about Victoria. She'd grown up in halls like this before poverty struck, and some storms teach you to dance in the rain. As Victoria walked through the hall under mocking stares, she kept her posture straight. My God, she really came, whispered Patricia Weston. Where did she get that dress? Probably rented it, sneered Vivian Chambers. How pathetic. They didn't know Victoria hadn't bought, borrowed, or rented the dress, she'd retrieved it from her own past. Richard approached, chest puffed with arrogance. Victoria, what a surprise. Someone who doesn't normally frequent this environment must feel quite intimidated. Victoria smiled dangerously. Intimidated? No, Richard, I'm feeling exactly where I've always belonged. The silence that followed changed everything. Something about Victoria defied their expectations completely. Richard announced loudly, Everyone, I'd like to introduce our special guest, Victoria, our dedicated cleaning lady. Laughter and camera flashes erupted. Patricia approached with poisonous smiles. How long did it take to choose that dress? This dress has a special history, Victoria replied calmly. It belonged to my mother. She wore it 20 years ago when she was still Victoria Temps Blackwood. The silence was deafening. Richard turned slowly. What did you say? Temps Blackwood, Victoria repeated. Funny how some people forget their own family history. Richard's face paled. You're delirious. I don't know what game you're playing. It's not a game, Richard. It's our history, the history you tried to erase. Victoria pulled out a ring, the traditional Blackwood family engagement ring with its distinctive blue sapphire. This ring was given to my mother by Henry Blackwood, my grandfather. The man you told everyone died without an heir. Where did you steal that? Richard shouted, shaking. You can't steal what's rightfully yours by birthright. Victoria paused dramatically. I'm not your cousin, Richard. I'm your half-sister. The room exploded in gasps. My father would never. Richard's voice cracked. Henry Blackwood had an affair with my mother, Isabella, for 5 years. She was the family's piano teacher. When she was pregnant, your father promised to care for us. He kept that promise until he died. Victoria pointed at Richard. You decided we never existed. You cut off our allowance, sold the house your father bought for my mother, and left us in poverty. Prove it, Richard said desperately. Victoria smiled predatorily. Oh, Richard, you think I came without proof? She signaled to the entrance. They can come in now. 3 people entered who would change everything. Diane Morrison, investigative journalist, David Chun, inheritance attorney, and Dr. Hamilton, the family physician. Dr. Hamilton's hands shook but his voice was steady. 20 years ago, I was forced to sign a falsified death certificate. Henry Blackwood didn't die of natural causes. He was slowly poisoned with arsenic. The hall erupted. Richard was sweating. You're crazy, Hamilton. Your father found out about the money you'd been embezzling. He'd changed his will to include Victoria and was about to report you when he began showing symptoms. Drive. Hamilton continued relentlessly. David Chun produced documents. This blood sample tested last week shows fatal arsenic levels. You're all lying. Richard screamed, uncontrolled. Victoria connected her phone to the sound system. A recording played. Richard's voice unmistakable. Hamilton, keep your mouth shut about anything strange in the old man's blood. And that woman and her bastard daughter can fend for themselves. Absolute silence followed. Even Richard's defenders shunned him. Helena stared in horror. Richard, you really did this? 20 years. Victoria screamed, composure breaking. 20 years of cleaning my own father's blood off his killer's hands. She regained her deadly calm. You want to know how I got this evidence? I didn't come here by accident. I applied specifically for this position. I spent 2 years preparing, gaining access, collecting evidence. David Chun smiled. When there's evidence of murder, all assets can be redistributed according to the original will. We have Henry Blackwood's actual will. Victoria approached Richard, now a cornered animal. My biggest mistake was believing you'd change on your own. Please, Richard whispered, all arrogance gone. This will destroy our family. You destroyed our family when you chose money over justice. Richard collapsed, completely defeated. But that was only the beginning. The next 2 hours turned the gala into the biggest scandal Beverly Hills had witnessed. Diane Morrison projected documents on screens, bank transfers, recordings, evidence of embezzlement, blackmail of politicians, bribery of judges. Miss Temps is filing a $50 million civil suit, David Chun announced. I don't have $50 million, Richard said with glazed eyes. No, Victoria said softly. But your company is worth $120 million, and half has always been mine by right. Sirens echoed outside. Police had arrived. As officers entered to arrest Richard, Victoria walked to the balcony where dozens of reporters waited. Helena approached. What happens now? Victoria looked at the sparkling city. Now, Helena, justice will finally be served. And maybe Beverly Hills will learn that class has nothing to do with a bank account. As Richard was led away in handcuffs through the hall where he'd tried to humiliate her hours earlier, Victoria felt something she hadn't felt in 20 years, peace. 6 months later, Victoria Temps Blackwood sat in Richard's former office, now renovated. Richard had been sentenced to 25 years without parole. His fortune was confiscated for victim compensation. In 6 months, Victoria increased company profits by 40% simply by treating employees like human beings. Fair wages, merit-based promotions, and respect created productivity Richard never achieved. Helena had divorced and moved away with her children. You could have destroyed us completely, but you protected my children, she told Victoria. Children don't pay for their parents' sins, Victoria replied. They deserve the chance to be better. Victoria's story went viral worldwide. The company now sponsored scholarships, microcredit programs, and created California's largest domestic violence support fund. She received a letter from prison. Richard, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but you taught me that I became a monster. Your nephew and niece want to meet the aunt who protected the family when their father failed. Victoria kept the letter without replying. Forgiveness was personal, but justice had been served. During a Forbes interview, the journalist asked, some say your revenge was too cruel. What do you say? Revenge would have been doing to him what he did to me, Victoria replied. Justice is ensuring he pays for his crimes and others don't suffer what I suffered. There's a fundamental difference. What advice would you give to people facing similar injustices? Victoria looked at employees having lunch in the company garden. The best revenge isn't destroying those who hurt you. It's building something so great that the injustice becomes only the first chapter in a story of triumph. That night, Victoria returned home to the comfortable house where she'd adopted 2 orphan girls needing second chances. As she helped with homework, she thought of her father. Henry Blackwood would be proud his daughter not only recovered what was stolen, but turned a company built on exploitation into a symbol of opportunity and dignity. Victoria's real victory wasn't dethroning Richard. It was proving that power built on justice rather than fear multiplies and benefits everyone. Richard tried to humiliate a cleaning lady and discovered he'd underestimated an heiress. More importantly, he learned that dignity cannot be bought, inherited, or stolen. It is earned through the choices we make when no one is looking. It is shaped in silence, strengthened through restraint, and revealed in moments when taking the easier path would cost one's integrity. True dignity grows from consistency between values and actions, from choosing what is right over what is convenient, even when the reward is invisible and the sacrifice is real. It lives in how a person treats those who can offer nothing in return, in the patience shown under pressure, and in the courage to stand firm without an audience to applaud. Such dignity does not demand attention, yet it commands respect. It does not announce itself, yet it leaves a lasting impression. It is reflected in quiet accountability, in the refusal to compromise character for comfort, and in the ability to remain grounded when power or success tempt one to forget their roots. Over time, this inner discipline becomes a compass, guiding decisions through uncertainty and grounding ambition in purpose. Those who carry this kind of dignity move differently through the world. They listen more than they speak, act with intention rather than impulse, and understand that real strength lies in self-mastery. Their presence steadies rooms, their words carry weight, and their influence extends beyond titles or possessions. Long after circumstances change and roles fade, this earned dignity remains, shaping legacies not through dominance or display, but through example, quiet, unwavering, and profoundly human.